He was very Mowgli-esque, was he
And
not?
then
If we're lulling you into a slumber, I think we're just winning the podcast.
Obviously, compelling content.
I want to pee on you. Hashtag stop hashtag. I don't speak Japanese. Mary, call the embassy. Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of the DBLBACK Podcast. Hopefully by now you've discovered DBLBACK is your news and entertainment cooperative. Think of what we do here as a couple guys sitting at your local watering hole, sitting in the booth next to you, speaking at a totally reasonable volume. We're just gonna welcome you into the conversation, let you drop some eaves. I am Brent. I'm your host for the podcast here, one of the co-founders and editors. And joining me tonight, a robust contingent of gentlemen here. Let's start with Keith, one of the other co-founders of DBLBACK. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Brent, thank you for that warm welcome. At a reasonably tuned level, I'd just like to say that I still measure once and cut twice.
Always wise. Always.
Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet.
And Dave, welcome, buddy.
Hey, how's it going, bud? You'll see me periodically picking my teeth tonight because it was the inaugural corn on the cob on the grill night. It's the first one of the season, so you guys will see me on the call tonight picking some shit out of my teeth all night long.
Well, welcome. Topher, you're here as well, no?
I'm still here. I've been here from last time. No one told me that we stopped recording the last podcast, so I just stayed.
That sounds very lonely. I apologize.
Meh.
We'll do a better job educating you on the end time of the podcast moving forward. And Ryan.
Hi, Brent. Ryan's
Hi.
here. I have 2 weeks until I turn 30, which means I basically have 2 weeks to live.
Yeah, good
Sounds
luck
about
with
right. Enjoy your slow death.
I'm enjoying every breath.
So what are you guys
what's
up to
up
this week?
Yeah. What do we got going on this week?
I want to just talk about FCC net neutrality really quick.
Please.
Of course you do.
Please.
Has Google bought the rights to net neutrality, the term?
No, actually, I'm about to. I'm gonna get the domain name. Guys, net neutrality, FCC it's gonna happen. The loss of net neutrality is gonna happen.
Is that a good or bad? I think it sounds like it sucks.
It does suck, but I'll give you a very brief layman's perspective. The net is essentially it's the Wild West. It's open. It's free to create. You can do whatever you want. My understanding is that the FCC ruled against the big four telecom companies for the longest time to have like fast lanes is what they're calling them. Like basically think of it as a highway and you've got the easy pass or the iPass lane and then you got to go through and pay homeboy some change or dump it in the bucket or whatever. If you don't fork up a big premium, you won't be in the fast lane, which means that your content will buffer at a slower speed, which means that it's going to be really tough. It's not going to be a level playing field anymore. It's basically going to be whoever can pay that premium to be in the fast lane can get their content to their users quicker. So companies like Amazon Prime will demolish Netflix because, let's face it, I don't know if it's true, but I heard this morning that Amazon they host like 10% of the internet. Netflix is on Amazon servers.
Yeah. So
like what's to stop Amazon, who is one of the biggest proprietors on the internet, to just say, you know what, Netflix, fuck you guys. There's not a single dollar amount that you could even come to the table with that'll allow you to play ball with us. So bye. Part of it, I have a very layman term-esque view on it, but it just is going to come down to whether the consumer is going to have to front the cost for the premium speeds that are going to be boasted through it. And I think that people that largely derive their income from the internet will probably be vastly more impacted than this robust contingent of gentlemen. So Netflix is the prime example that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I feel like you see some of this stuff already happening with
chime in.
Netflix has already paid, I believe, both Comcast and Verizon for the right to stream a little bit faster than the competition. And I mean, I can imagine that any of the content delivery companies, especially the ones that are bandwidth heavy, are going to go that direction, especially if you have the funds to do it. I know that if I had to wait an extra, 30 seconds for my Hulu download to load, and I know the same movie is on Netflix and it loads instantly, I mean, it sounds like a really first world problem to have, but when you're talking about net neutrality, it really is just about the smallest of advantages that you can have over the competition.
Because the opposite side of it is it allows the service providers to also throttle speed to things that they don't particularly like. So in our instance, where the first world problem is we're going to throttle, Real Housewives of some stupid city, the flip side is that when you look at stuff like using Twitter in Egypt, when you look at the bans that Turkey is putting in right now, this is something obviously hypothetically not that grandiose, but at the same time, the service providers could throttle our content in a similar way to the way that it's happening in other countries as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, personally, I feel like if we throttled download speeds of Real Housewives of Bumfuck Nowhere, it would really be a good thing for our society. But
for America, that'd be a plus for America.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. All right, well, let's bring some testosterone back into this shit and talk about the motherfucking NFL draft.
Right?
Motherfucking NFL draft.
Welcome into Testosterone Cast. We're gonna spell that TSTR-OWN Cast.
No, let's testosterone all over this bitch.
All right, let's do it.
Go Horse 88.
What? Yeah. Next.
Right, I have a question for you, Brent.
Please.
Where is this draft deep? And where is this draft shallow? Let's start broad and bring it in.
You make it sound so sexy. I like this draft in pretty much every position except quarterback.
I thought you were going to say missionary.
Yeah, seriously.
I wanted you to think that's where I was going with that.
I will take this draft in reverse cowgirl. I will take this draft in doggy.
Can we rewind just briefly? For those of us who have been balls deep in other mainly sports balls endeavors, when is the draft?
It'll be Thursday, I believe May
8th. Thursday, May 8th. I have annually had people over to eat chicken, drink beer, and watch the first round of the draft ever since it started on Thursdays.
I was just going to say, I think I'm going to be at your house for this. I mean, you live very, very far away from me, but I feel like I can't withstand the offer.
You can't withstand the offer. I'm going to feed you fried chicken and give you beers to drink, and you're going to stare at my TV in its low quality, and you're going to enjoy that I get super giddy about the NFL draft, and I'm not even looking forward to my team picking that evening in all likelihood. To answer your original question, I like this draft at every position except quarterback. All of the front office gurus that have been around for a long time are calling this the deepest draft they've seen in years. And so there's going to be guys at certain positions that are going to be maybe go undrafted that legitimately have a chance to challenge for starting spots, especially at wide receiver. Wide receiver, which in today's NFL, being such a vertical passing game, wide receiver is a pretty impactful spot for sure. It's definitely going to be hitting all of your fantasy needs when guys that get picked up in the 6th and 7th round are your starting wide receiver come week 15 of your fantasy season. So that's actually how I got into the draft, was just playing fantasy football. And I always got pissed when mid-season, all the guys with names that I'd heard weren't producing, and yet the people at the top of the league had all these guys, that were rookies or second-year players that I wasn't familiar with. So I hit it on the front end. I got into the draft so that I could find those guys that were due for breakout years.
There you go. As a Bears fan, what I will say is I feel like the Bears, I feel like they consistently punch themselves and their fan base in their own dick by being either just good enough to make the playoffs or just bad enough to make the playoffs and ending up with a pick in like the 14 to 21 range like every year.
Yep.
I feel like that's a really poor plan to be on. Either be really, really bad and draft yourself an Andrew Luck, or be really, really good and just don't have to worry about it because you're fucking awesome.
Right. What I've learned from watching the NFL over the past decade with as much, acuity as I have, it's best to just be really, really good and then have a really, really down year every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the most recent example is the Colts, and they were able to move along from arguably the greatest quarterback of all time in Peyton Manning to the next best thing, Andrew Luck, and just have 1 year where they didn't make the playoffs and then continue the dominance. And by dominance, I mean losing in the first round and making it to the second round a year later, but that's okay.
Yeah, I feel like this is a year I can get excited about because the draft that I can get excited about from the Bears' perspective because it is so deep. Emery came out and had a press conference today where they said that they recognized 6 players that they would be overjoyed in picking at 14 where they pick, and honestly that seems like a perfect situation. Speaking of the site, I put up on the site, we're recording this for some behind the scenes to you listeners. We're recording this on Thursday. I put up on the site last night the preview for Free Comic Book Day, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way right now. Free Comic Book Day is this Saturday across the entire country. So within the piece that's on the website, DBLBACK, there's a store locator so you can figure out what stores in your area are participating. So the way it generally works is that the shop owners pay for some free books. They give them away for free to people to try and get some new people into the shops. And it usually is the busiest day of the year when you see a lot of like little kids and stuff like that in the shops of trying to get new readers in there. And most shops also run like specials on some of their stuff. They run a lot of deals. So honestly, if you haven't read in a while, get back in there.
So walk me through this a little bit more. I did kind of have some questions about it, but it was like right at the end of the podcast we were wrapping things up. Like,
yeah.
do you keep all of your comic books? Like, do you have storage that you have dedicated to your comic books?
I mean, everybody does it. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Yes, I do have some that are bagged and boarded. I wouldn't be a true nerd if I didn't. So I've got some that are bagged and boarded. I keep it in like my shame corner of the closet in the second bedroom where I have like my Millennium Falcon Lego set. Yeah, all of that stuff is up in the shame corner. So I do have some books bagged and boarded. The only stuff that I like keep out is I have a couple of trade paperbacks of some like classic stories that I have on my desk here sitting in front of me. But the rest of the stuff I read digitally, and like it's becoming pretty big business, digital comic books. Amazon actually just
bought Comixology.
Comixology. And there's a lot of nerds who are really pissed off about it all over the internet because you can no longer buy stuff like on an impulse buy straight through iOS. But that's how a lot of people are doing their reading now, and it's honestly a really nice way to do it because the page quality, the quality of the art, the quality of the colors is really, really nice on the Retina iPad screen. So to answer your question, yes, I do have some storage space, but it's mostly limited to my shame corner in the closet. So
I really like that you have a shame corner.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to keep the stuff up there.
Do you want to get into that a little more?
It's all right. So it's less hidden because I'm ashamed of it, and it's more hidden so that my fiance isn't reminded of what a big fucking nerd she's marrying. Do any of you still read, or have you read recently? Topher is usually on my side on these things. Topher, have you read anything recently?
I picked up with the New 52 when that came out a little while ago, but it's been a long time since I've been like a Wednesday shopper. I tend to just wait for the trade paperbacks. Since I don't really have a shame corner, I don't have enough space to have single issues. But I've got plenty of space in my shame bookcases to put trade paperbacks.
There you go.
I figure that's enough. I don't need to have the long boxes bagged and board anymore. I had to let that go.
Yeah, and honestly, I have it limited to one box. Otherwise,
That's not
feel
bad.
like I would, give in to the addiction that is collecting on a weekly basis.
And that's the problem, is that it really truly is never ending. If there's certain, if you start collecting a run, I mean, that can hypothetically go on forever. And once you're into it, and even if you're not particularly enjoying them anymore, there are a lot of times that I was buying issues simply because, I have the other 74 of these. I don't even care about the story, but I'm not going to let this run get interrupted now.
Well, my nerd is fulfilled. Thanks, guys.
I feel good about that.
Welcome back to Testosterone Cast. We were on a quick break, but we're back.
Guys, speaking of testosterone, have you seen this guy run a sub 5-minute beer mile?
Oh my God, my new hero.
It is the world record.
Yes.
Oh, what is this?
Tell me, I know nothing. Tell me.
So I don't know where this guy's from or anything like that, but he's obviously a very good runner. But beer mile is where you chug a beer, run a lap, chug a beer, run a lap, chug a beer, run a lap, etc. Right? And this guy completely pussies the first beer he chugs, and then continues to run like a minute 10, 400 meter, then just starts crushing beers and crushing laps, and ends up with a 4-minute, 57-second mile while also full of 4 beers in his stomach.
That's pretty impressive.
His, I would assume, girlfriend or whatever partner records the entire thing in real time, and it's insane to watch.
I feel like this is the direction that all professional sports should go.
Yeah.
This adds a new level of difficulty to this thing. Sure, Megatron can catch 4 touchdowns and have 250 yards receiving, but how fast can he chug a beer after he catches that touchdown? Who knows?
Can Megatron hold his
on the
liquor?
sideline?
I don't know if Megatron could hold up that figure if he has to chug a beer after every touchdown.
Well, if it's a Michelob Ultra, it'll be fine.
Man, 2-minute drills would be awful. Everyone would be hoisted.
I think that there's a lot of upside for this for Olympic sports. Like, I'm not sure that I want to see the NFL or the NBA go to a situation like this, but I can tell you I would watch every single bit of the Olympics. That if before they gave a guy a javelin, they made him chug a couple beers and then let him unleash that thing into the stadium. Like, ice skating would become amazing.
Yeah, like Olympic dizzy bat.
Oh, God. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Supposedly,
that little American ice dancer, Meryl Davis, get her to chug a couple of beers. I feel like she is literally a lightweight, and it might get interesting for us.
Well, I mean, this is the full, true definition of binge drinking, though. I mean, this guy crushes 4 beers in 5 minutes and ran a mile. And then, so of course, I Google what could be harder than this, and there's something called like the vodka steeplechase.
Oh God!
Which sounds way more entertaining.
Well, just the steeplechase alone, trying to clear that hurdle that lands into the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty intense right there.
Can we schedule an outing?
It'd be like in Gamer when Gerard Butler just slams all that vodka and then runs out into the field and he's all wasted, puking all over the place.
Oh, see, I would watch that. I would pay money to attend that, in fact.
The Olympics need a boost. They need help, so I think this is definitely viable.
Topher's on to something here with the Olympic beer thing, because I think there's plenty of beer companies that are making tons of money that would pay to have people chug it.
What about that event where you do cross-country skiing and then you have to shoot a rifle at targets? Like, that'd be pretty awesome, too.
So instead of having those targets, you just set up the empty beer cans?
Nice.
Yes.
See, that's got legs.
There's so much room for cross promotion here. I'm glad we have a marketing professional on this podcast.
I'm not going to lie. If there was a chance to integrate alcohol in the Olympics, the best opportunity was probably in Russia, and it's gone.
Ah.
I don't know.
Wow.
I think we'll have some good chances here.
Wow.
I mean,
If we're talking beer versus vodka, yes, there's still opportunity.
That's true.
I mean, if we're talking Russia, I think the bigger opportunities, we could have involved bears in the Olympics. They probably would have allowed that shit.
That's fair.
You release a giant fucking angry grizzly bear at the top of a ski run, and then you let them do the slalom down the hill, like, that's going to happen. Because then if you fall down, it's not like, oh, bad time. Now you're going to get fucking eaten by a bear.
Yeah. So the 2014 Sochi Olympics, beers, bears, Battlestar Galactica.
Nailed it.
alliteration. Love it.
Beers, bears, bobsledding.
Even better.
There is something to be said about, the amount of adrenaline you might get rushing through your system that if there was a grizzly bear on your tail, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would turn the elite athletes into elite athletes on fear and adrenaline.
Yeah. I feel like this setup for the Olympics might turn my little brother into an Olympian. This kid can crush a beer like you have never seen.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
You have seen it. He opens up his throat like a fucking boa constrictor, and the beer just disappears. It disappears. It was insane.
Is it like what's that guy, Red Fox from the Man Show? Do you remember that? Do you remember how that guy would house beers? He's just like mug to mouth gone.
So, Brent, what are you looking forward to this week that's not the NFL draft?
Nothing.
Now that you're done with your NBA, what have you been filling your free time with for the last couple of weeks?
Shame corner.
Destroying bird nests. I reorganized my closet.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're so domestic.
Here we are at Testosterone Cast, where we
Testosterone Cast,
where we talk about do-it-yourself craft projects.
Organizing shirts by color.
Hey, you do that too?
Where we talk about our excessive pinning habits and all of the great things we find on Pinterest.
Nobody's on Pinterest but you.
The world's most Pinteresting man.
What are you looking forward to this week, Ryan?
It's actually funny that we were just ripping on Pinterest and everything else and DIY in general, because I'm actually considering building a table.
There you go.
That he found on Etsy.
I'm going to set beers on it.
There you go.
Maybe eat meat off of it straight, or use it as an alternative to a baby-changing table.
So you're going to build it from scratch, or you're going to repurpose an old table?
Well, I'll probably try to find some repurposed wood and then stain it all and get it all nice or whatever. But I've gone shopping for the past 2 weeks on the internet and live, and it's just too expensive, and it seems like it's all something that is possible.
Or an Adirondack pine, even though it is a little soft.
Keith, aside from soft wood, what are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to, I'm freelancing a little bit in the marketing world, so I'm looking forward to the projects I've been working on. So, yeah.
You're looking forward to freelancing.
Well, that's what they call.
You dirty little freelancer.
Well, that's what they call it nowadays. I go to the Sugar Shack and I dance for tips. Is what if you must know, I'm a male stripper on weeknights, and the pay is hell. But
Keith, it was really hard to get the subtext of that joke when you said Sugar Shack. We really didn't know. All right, so to wrap it up, Toph.
So let's see. We've got the Blackhawks second round series starting tomorrow. We've got a big Game 7 between the Pacers and the Hawks.
Game 7.
And then I think I'm going to smoke some brisket this weekend because I'm a goddamn man.
Nice.
Hit us up on the website, DBLBACK.com. Definitely touch base with us on Twitter, on Facebook. We're anywhere. We're everywhere. we're a big bag of dicks, and we'll see you next time.
Finger guns. Hey, Burns, work in a disclaimer at the end that if you use this podcast, you're going to have some nasty side effects.
Record the audio now, and I'll just add it in there.
Warning to those that use the Testosterone podcast, you may have anal leakage, cauliflower ass, or any of the above two things that I just said.